On introducing chords, we're looking at the third chord position, this time D major. Just like we've done in previous weeks, we're also going to look at three simple variations around D major, D minor and D7. This is the third chord in our series that we're going to look at for this month, and next week we're going to put the three chords we've been learning and their variations together in a chord sequence, so you can start to see how all these shapes begin to work in a musical context. So, just like we've done in previous weeks, what we're going to do is start building up this chord finger by finger, string by string. Remember, like all chords, there's many positions around the neck we can play D major. But again, we're going to look at the first or open position of D major. So, what you can see here is D major, first position. Now let's look at the strings that we have to play to get this chord. With D major, there are two strings on the guitar neck that we don't play. These strings are the bottom E string and the A string, which is this one here. So let's start building it up finger by finger. The D string we play open. Now all we have to do is put our fingers on the fret. First up, let's take our index finger. This goes on the G string on the second fret. This is the fourth string down. Next, we use our ring finger, which goes on the B string on the third fret. This is the fifth string down. Finally, to make the chord of D major, we use our middle finger. This goes on the top E string, which is the sixth string down. And here's what all the notes should sound like. Why don't we now look at the first variation around D major, D minor. Again, going from D major to D minor is quite simple, but it might take a bit of time for your fingers to get used to the change. So let's look at what that change is. Effectively, we only change one note, but to do it, we have to swap two fingers. So let's look at what we mean. The first finger is moving from the second fret of the G string to the first fret of the E string. So moving from here to here. As we move the first finger from here to here, the second or middle finger moves from the top E string to the same position that the first finger was just on, i.e. the second fret of the G string. So together, these changes go like so. And watch the first finger change and the second finger swap. This swapping and changing of these two fingers will be quite awkward for you at first. The only thing we can suggest is you keep practicing doing the pressure and release on each position. Now let's hear what all those notes should sound like. Okay, finally let's look at the last variation around D, D7. Let's build this chord up from scratch. To play D7, we put our first finger on the first fret of the B string. Our middle or second finger goes on the second fret of the G string. Finally, our third or ring finger goes on the second fret of the top E string. Let's hear what those notes should sound like. Now we've looked at the three variations around D major, why don't we try playing each of them to rhythm? 1, 2, 3, 4. To D minor and change. Going to D7 and change. And back to D major and change. With so much of this stuff, the key is just repetition, so make use of the exercises, pressure and release, changing between chords, building the chords up string by string, finger by finger, and you'll soon start to get used to it. But remember, don't try and go ahead too quickly. It's always more important to do less but do it right.